Planet Dolan.
What percentage of pilots have fallen asleep during their own flights? Is a non-refundable ticket really non-refundable? Here are 15 things airlines probably don't want you to know. Hey guys, this is the Schlappam guest narrating for this countdown. Check out Dolan's guest narration on our channel. There's a link to the video in the description box below.
Number 15.
Pilots are very tired. Chances are, if you're on a flight, your pilot is stressed out and exhausted. About half of pilots say they've fallen asleep while their plane was in the air. There are guidelines regarding how many hours in a day a pilot can fly and how much time they need to rest between flights. Most guidelines say pilots need at least 8 hours of sleep between flights. But those 8 hours aren't all rest, that's just time from flight to flight. It doesn't account for commuting, eating or unwinding. Those 8 hours of rest might only include 2 to 3 hours of actual sleep.
Number 14.
You can get off a delayed plane. If you've ever been on a plane that's delayed for hours before even taking off, you know how annoying that can be. But government regulations indicate that passengers cannot be kept on an airplane for longer than 3 hours before they allow passengers to get off. Also, don't be rude to the flight staff during a takeoff delay. They have it worse than you do. They don't get paid until the plane is in the air.
Number 13.
Flight attendants aren't just wait staff. Flight attendants are superheroes basically. Sure, they serve you food and drinks, but they're also trained in first aid, CPR, defibrillators, EpiPens and self-defense. They're the last ones off the plane in case of an emergency, and they still have to show you impeccable customer service. Of course, airlines don't want you thinking about all the other things flight attendants are trained to do, because most of the skills have to do with safety and emergency situations.
Number 12.
Your phone won't crash the plane. Anytime your flight takes off, you're told to put your phone into airplane mode, and you really should. But ultimately, if you forget, it's not going to bring the plane down. You'll probably just annoy the crap out of the pilots who will have to deal with the sound of interference throughout the flight. This issue can cause a flight to miss clearance, so leaving your phone on is really just increasing the chances of a delayed landing.
Number 11.
Airlines have to pay for lost luggage. If an airline loses your luggage, they'll offer to pay maybe $25 to $50. But what if your luggage contained a tuxedo you needed for a wedding or a suit for a business trip or something valuable you need to replace? In that case, $50 won't cut it, and if you have the receipts to prove you needed what was in the bag, the airline may owe you up to $3,300 in compensation.
Number 10.
Bring hand sanitizer. The inside of a plane usually sees thousands of passengers a day, and most of the stuff in there is actually cleaned only about once a day or less. Everything on the plane is covered in germs. Furthermore, the pressurized air in the cabin makes it harder for your body to resist germs. So bring a bottle of hand sanitizer and basically use it after you touch anything. By the way, those pillows and blankets they give you, those were almost definitely not washed since the last person used them.
Number 9.
Say no to vouchers. If your flight is overbooked, the airline will usually see if somebody is willing to be bumped for a $200 voucher. Don't be that sucker. If they're trying to bump you off a flight, you're owed cash. And don't take the lowball offer either. The US Department of Transportation says you can be compensated up to 400% of your ticket value, with a cap of $1,300 for being delayed like that.
Number 8.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Saturdays tend to have the fewest business travelers, and so they tend to have the cheapest airfare. If you don't care what days of the week you fly, keep this in mind when you book.
Number 7.
Non-refundable tickets can be refunded. Yeah, they say they're non-refundable, but the US Department of Transportation requires that all plane tickets can be refunded within the first 24 hours after you buy them. This is a requirement for everyone, domestic and international. It's generally easier to get that refund if you've booked directly through the carrier rather than through a third-party website.
Number 6.
Rescheduled flight equals big bucks. Maybe you just got a rescheduled flight for a few hours later, but you're still mostly on schedule. You're probably still entitled to some kind of cash compensation. If your rescheduled flight can't get you to your destination within 2 hours of your original arrival time or 4 hours for an international flight, you're owed as much as 200% of the one-way fare, up to $650.
Number 5.
Pilots can't eat together. Pilots have to eat too, but they can't eat the same food, or at least at the same time. They either have to have food from different sources or they have to eat at least an hour apart. That way there's almost no chance of both pilots coming down with food poisoning at the same time.
Number 4.
Don't walk around barefoot. All sorts of stuff has hit the floor of your plane. Spilled food and drinks, vomit, baby pee and poop, adult pee and poop, blood. Sure, they'll clean it up for your next flight, but it's not like the carpet gets replaced after every flight. Maybe you don't want your feet touching that stuff, but also feet stink, so don't subject other people to your dank tootsies.
Number 3.
Your plane doesn't have much fuel. Jet fuel is heavy. If they filled the tank for every flight, those flights would have to use more fuel just to haul the remaining fuel. So instead, they put just enough fuel in the tank to get you where you're going, and a little extra in case of a landing delay.
Number 2.
Dimming the lights is for safety. If you've ever flown at night, you've probably noticed that they dim the lights for takeoff and landing. That's not to make it easier to sleep, though it doesn't hurt. It's actually to adjust your eyes to the darkness, so it's easier to see if the plane loses power in an emergency.
Number 1.
Clean your tray tables. Tray tables are some of the most germ-covered objects on the whole plane, and they're rarely cleaned. There are more germs on the tray table than there are on the toilet flush button in the lavatory. For your own health and peace of mind, bring a sanitizing wipe or two to wipe that thing down before you put anything on it, especially your hands or food. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Now, some of you may not realize we run our own channel called Slapped Ham. Remember to head on over and check out our latest countdown. It features Danger Dolan. There's a link in the description box below.